This week, we are going to create this project right here, which is called Van Gogh's Sunflowers Meets Starry Night. And I think that is self-explanatory, but as you can see, I've got a whole Starry Night scene behind the pot of flowers. And then Van Gogh has a very famous painting called Sunflowers, and so this is sort of an homage to Van Gogh. So let's begin talking about materials. So you need a pencil, an eraser, and you need either a black or brown Sharpie marker or permanent marker. You need black paper. If you do not have black paper, then use white paper. If you have oil pastels, that will work beautifully on the black or the white, but if you do not have oil pastels, then you definitely need white paper, and then you can use crayons or markers for the Starry Night thing. Okay, and then you also need a color of construction paper for your vase. So I'm choosing tan for mine, and then that sort of strip right there is made of brown construction paper, but this is your choice on the color of vessel that you use. And then you need green construction paper for the leaves with the flowers. And then you need yellow construction paper for the actual sunflowers. And then if you have oil pastels, that's what you're going to use on black paper if you have black paper. Okay, so let's get started. All right, the first thing you want to do is, if you're working on white paper, then you're just going to use pencil for this part. But if you're working on black paper, you can use, if you're using oil pastels, you can use, or chalk pastels, you can use a white or a gray pastel to kind of start building your background. And the way we do that is, you know, Starry Night is a series of swirls and circles, and then it's like patterns of that. So the way to begin this is just to kind of jump around a little bit. So notice I'm going to start by creating a circle there, another circle here, another circle here, and then maybe up here, and here, and here, and here. And then I can probably do something small inside. And then, boys and girls, I'm going to basically stick to these colors. So let me see if I can get the colors out for you. So I'm going to use a light orange. I'm going to use a reddish brown color, which will actually be for the sunflowers. So we'll do that later. I'm going to use a gray, if you have gray, a dark yellow, a bright yellow, as many different blues as you can find. So I've got several different blues here. And like I said, white paper, you would just do different colors, different kinds of crayons and markers. And you know, you can even look up Van Gogh's Starry Night to kind of see how that looks. Okay, so what you want to do now is you want to start building around those circles. And I like to kind of do like several on one, and that's not even filled in yet. That's not really ready yet, but I can at least kind of get something started everywhere. And sometimes on Van Gogh's painting, you'll notice that he's got these sort of broken circles like that. So you can build around what you have so far. And then we're going to just keep adding to it, okay? We're just going to keep adding to it. So I'm going to go in here and add some dark blue there. And then over here, I'm going to do some yellow. And over here, I'm going to do some yellow. And then within this, so all I'm doing is switching kind of back and forth between yellows and blues, and things will start to kind of come together and build, okay? So if I do this here, and then I come over here with my darker blue, so you can see that things are going to start getting closer to one another. Now I'm pushing pretty hard with my colors because I really want them to be vibrant and to show. And then, you know, I'm going to do, sometimes you connect your circles by going around more than one at a time. So now I'm going to start sort of connecting them in that way. Like here I am going around this one. And then I'm going to go around this one. And then I'm going to go like that. And you can see I'm just continuously sort of building upon what I already have there. Okay, that's a light blue right there. I'm going to add some more yellow in here, and here, and here, and in here. So I'm just going to keep going with what I'm doing. And here's that light orange. I'm going to do it again right here. Add more of that light orange around this one. Just keep building until you pretty much don't have any more room to add anything. So we just keep going. And if you notice, I'm putting like things around things and then I'm building within those spaces, right? So I've taken that color and now I'm going to bring in this color to different areas. So I'm continuously just adding layers to my circles. Now Van Gogh would have done this with his paintbrush and it would have been really, really thick. He would be sometimes taking his tube of paint and actually literally taking that tube and squeezing the paint on, you know, right on top of his canvas. It's really, if you've ever seen a Van Gogh painting in person, they're incredibly thick and textural and beautiful. Okay, so we're almost there. Just gonna keep going. Swirly whirly, round and around. Keep building. Almost there, guys. Almost there. Okay. We are getting there. Okay, so I think that's a really good place to stop. Remember, if this takes you longer, what are you going to do? You're going to stop, and you are going to focus on doing things in your own time, right? At your own pace. You're not rushing. You know, you're not stressing out. Just enjoy yourself. It's really fun to do Van Gogh swirls. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put our swirly sky away for now. And then we're going to move on to our vase and flowers. Okay, so for the vase, when I look at this paper and I take my vase paper, I do not want my vase, like I'm going to lay it on top of this like this, and I don't want my vase to cover my whole sky. Like I want more sky showing, even, you know, 50% more than, or like, I don't want my vase to cover the whole sky. So basically I'm putting my paper on here to kind of gauge how big I want the bottom of my flower vase to be. And I'm kind of doing that at the bottom just to kind of show me essentially how wide the base of the vase is going to be. And then I'm going to go about this high. So if I were to measure that with a ruler, let me find my ruler, I would say that your vase is going to be approximately maybe 5 inches high. That's probably a good place. And then you want your vase to come out wide and then come back in. So I'm going to make it wider in the middle and then it comes back in. And then I'm going to curve it like this. So this would be the height of it, but because it's curved, that's what's going to make it appear more three-dimensional. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we're going to remove that again. And then what I want to do is I'm going to take my brown paper and I'm going to put my brown paper right on top of this area where my vase is. And this curve that I got going on right here, I want to mimic that same curve on my brown paper. So I am basically creating a parallel line that is matching this curve right here, okay? And then I'm going to come out like that. It's going to end up being bigger than my actual vase, but that's okay because then I can cut it and trim it. So depending on how big you want your striped thing, maybe you don't want it to be, you know, have like that anything on it. It's really up to you. But then if I am going to use it, I'm going to go like that. And then I'm going to use my scissors to cut it out. And I don't know if it's going to fit correctly yet. I actually made it larger on purpose, because if I make it larger on purpose, then I can cut it to size based on once I lay it down on my vase. So here we go. All right, so here it is, and I'm going to put it right there, and that looks pretty good right there. And then I can go ahead and simply mark where I'm going to cut it by sort of continuing my line from my tan paper over my brown paper. And so I've got that there. And I cut this side also. And then I'm going to use my glue stick to put, glue on the entire back side of whatever decoration I'm putting on my vase. In this case, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to hold it down so it sticks. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my vase out of the tan construction paper that I put it on. So again, whatever color you're using is fine. It's up to you. I just kind of wanted to use a neutral color for the vessel since the sky and the flowers are so bright and bold. All right, so here we go. Now we have our vase. So I'm going to come back to this, and I'm going to glue it down here. You can have it off center a little bit if you want to, or you can have it right in the center. If you want to make it like this and you want to do it like that, you can also do that. It's up to you. It can be either landscape or portrait. So here we go, adding glue to the back of my face. That would be the side that does not have any decoration on it, any additional things on it. And once that is glued, I'm going to go ahead and put it where I want it to be. And then I'm going to hold it down. And I find that the best way to get a glue stick to really stay is to flip the item over that you're trying to use and rub it so that it really sticks. And then we're going to leave this alone for a little bit. So we've got our vase on our background now. And now we're going to focus on our sunflowers and then our leaves, okay? So, sunflowers are not the easiest thing to cut out, which is why I've reserved this project for older grades, or anybody really that has pretty good scissor skills, because it does take time to cut them out. But I want your sunflowers to be nice and bold and big. If you make them nice and large, you really don't need more than 5 or 6 to sort of have that full bouquet effect. If you draw them too small, you just need to probably add more than I've added on mine. So to create sunflowers, I'm going to do a middle section, and then I'm going to layer like this. Notice how I'm spinning my paper around. And I'm using, by the way, I'm using a dark, it's called an ebony pencil. It's pretty dark, and it marks really very black. So I'm doing this mainly so you can see, but I recommend that you don't draw this hard so that you can adjust as needed. But pay attention to how I'm spinning my paper in order to kind of get that symmetrical flower down correctly so that it feels nice and full and the petals feel symmetrical. So I'm going to draw that one there, and then I'm going to draw another one right here. This one's going to be just a little bit different. It's going to have some bigger petals like that. Okay, and then I'm going to add an additional petal, partial petal in between all the petals. And then I'm going to do this other one over here, which is going to have skinny petals, but it's going to be a little bit shorter. Remember to spin your paper around if you need to. I find that on the smaller one, I don't need to spin it around as much. And then you can come in here and add an additional sort of partial petal in between the petals that are there. Now, remember I said you need 5 or 6 different flowers probably for your vessel, possibly more if you're drawing small. What I'm doing though is I'm taking my paper like this and I'm drawing on the top half of my paper as it's lined up in landscape mode. And then I'm going to fold my paper in half and just fold it exactly in half. And ideally your flowers have not gone over the edge too much. In my case it did a little bit, so I'm going to fold a little bit up, but that's because I have this extra space up here. So I would draw closest to the top of your paper as you can. And this way when I cut this out, I'm going to literally end up cutting 2 every time. So I'm going to cut that there. So you see how this is layered. It's going to have the one that we drew and then the second part on the bottom there. And I'm going to do this. Okay, and then we're going to cut these babies out. Now I find that it is easiest to cut right at the tip when you're cutting a sunflower out. You cut right at the tip, and then you go back and you cut within all the little negative space areas. So I'm going to do this first. And then I'm going to cut these out, and I'm going to go pretty fast, but you take your time at this point. You want to pause the video so you can cut your stuff out, and then you can press play again when you're ready to move on. And this way you're not going to end up cutting out 6 flowers, you're just going to cut out 3 or 4 depending on how many you need, as long as you flip that paper over to sort of double the layer. And then because the construction paper is not that thick, so you can definitely cut more pieces together. Okay, so now you've got both pieces, and you're going to do the same thing over here with this one. Same thing, I'm going to cut right along the tips of everything first, right there at the tip. Here, and here, and here. And then, same thing, I'm going to cut out all the triangular pieces that are left over. So, now we've got our flowers. We've got these 3 that we already drew, and then we have 3 pieces here that need to be adjusted according to the patterns that we already did here. So, I'm going to go here and put a circle in this one, and then I'm just going to build up along every tip that then recedes to a spot, and that ends up working out pretty nicely. You're just adding sort of your details again, and it doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to appear sunflowerish. Same with this one, circle in the center, go there, go there, go there, and here, and here, and there's that one. And for this one, I know that when I did this, I basically layered on top of something that was already there. So I'm basically going to do that again. And guys, if you feel more comfortable just drawing all 6 flowers and then cutting them out individually, by all means, do it. You do whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, so we've got our flowers. If you're using brown, if you have a brown Sharpie marker, then you'll color the inside of your flowers with brown marker, or you can use brown oil pastel. And I wouldn't try to make this solid. I would really try to make it kind of textury on the inside that has some, scribbles within the circle, just because a sunflower actually does have that in the center. It's not like some perfectly flat round thing. It actually is texture on the inside. So here we go. And same thing with this one. Okay, then I'm going to make a few leaves, and I would say, let me see how many I have on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so I would say you could get away with drawing 5 leaves. I've got 2 colors of green here. If you had 1 color of green, you could simply fold it in half, and then you could, it's basically layering the 2 pieces on top of one another. And then you could draw some leaves, some individual leaves like that. And you could sometimes draw some leaves like this that are all kind of connected to one another, okay? So that's another way you can do it. And do 2. Okay, and then you'll cut that out as well. Got my leaves here. And I have my flowers, and now I'm gonna bring this back to my space and get ready to add all my pieces on. So you'll need your glue stick, of course, and you want your flowers to overlap the top edge and the sides of your vessel, okay? Now I'm not going to glue the tips of my flowers all the way down. I'm just putting the glue sort of in the very center of my flower, and I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to press. And I'm going to get another one and do the same thing just in the middle. I kind of like how the flowers are, the stem, not the stems, the petals are kind of looking upwards or facing upwards instead of being perfectly flat down. And sometimes you will end up overlapping a little bit, like you can see how this one's overlapping this one. And sometimes it's going to go under something, so I'm going to put that one right here. And I'll take this one and put it right here. I'm going to put this one a little bit under the petal. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put this one right here. Again, overlapping a little bit. Once you've got all that in place, because these tips are all standing up a little bit, you can actually put your leaves underneath so they're not like sticking off of the flower, but they're sort of, the idea is that they look like they're coming off of a stem somewhere. So I'm going to put that one there, and I'm going to put this one here, like maybe down here a little bit. Yep, that works. And then I've got a few more to glue on, and then we're going to be done. Okay, so lift this up a little bit. Tuck that underneath. And you may not end up using every single flower that you've cut, and you may not end up using every single leaf that you've cut. It just, the idea is for, you know, it to look nice and full, but it doesn't need to look, you know, it doesn't need to look like you've stuck everything on there just because you made everything. And voila, we have our picture. And that is it, you guys. Take care. I love you so much, and I miss you a lot. And I hope that you have fun doing this, okay? I'll see you guys later. Bye.